Tonight, from the historic desk, the Malabar calculation error that sent Portugal to the beach. An argument for why European navigators should have checked their work and against borrowing your rival's homework. 1. We begin with a proposition. The trajectory of empire is not written in the stars, but in the scribal errors of the astronomers who chart them. Any flaws in the celestial map will translate to flaws in the terrestrial one. The Portuguese did not need God on their side. They needed a mathematician who could carry the one. They had neither. The result was not history as you know it, but a farce worthy of a new branch of trigonometry. Let us call it the comedy of errors. 2. The stage is set in the late 15th century. Vasco da Gama, a man whose navigational ambitions were rivaled only by his profound incompetence with numbers, secures a bootleg translation of the Tantra Sangraha, a masterwork of the Kerala School of Astronomy and Mathematics. Specifically, he gets his hands on Nilakantha Somayaji's sophisticated calculations for the sine function. He intends to use these series, painstakingly developed by scholars like Madhava of Sangamagrama a century before Newton, to plot a direct course to the riches of the Indian subcontinent. There is, however, a small problem. The translation, scribbled in haste by a Genoese spice merchant with a grudge and an abacus, misplaces a single decimal point. Just one. An error of no consequence in a classroom, but one of monumental stupidity when applied to the curvature of the earth. 3. Da Gama's fleet, armed with what he believed was the pinnacle of Indic navigational science, set sail from Lisbon in 1497. Instead of rounding the Cape of Good Hope and aiming for Calicut, Nilakantha's corrupted figures guide their prows southwest, then further southwest, then so far southwest that the navigators begin to suspect that India is significantly larger, sandier, and more infested with capybaras than the reports suggested. After months at sea, suffering from scurvy and a terminal case of bad arithmetic, they make landfall not on the Malabar coast, but on the coast of what we call Brazil. Believing they have brilliantly outmaneuvered their rivals, they claim the territory for Portugal, naming it Terra das Especiarias Falsas, the land of false spices. 4. The consequences are immediate and idiotic. Da Gama's men, attempting to procure pepper, end up trading barrels of Portuguese wine for tons of dried chili peppers, a botanical curiosity with no value in the European market. They return to Lisbon, not as heroes, but as the purveyors of a violently spicy red powder that sends King Manuel I into a coughing fit so severe it bursts a blood vessel in his eye. Da Gama is demoted to cabin boy. The chili powder, deemed a biological weapon, is dumped in the Tagus. For the next 50 years, Portuguese naval doctrine is rewritten around a single, furious principle. No more shortcuts. And absolutely, positively, no more Indian mathematics. Therefore, the surest path to imperial glory was closed not by a rival navy, but by a single, misplaced dot. Filed by Professor Anand Zero-Sum Subramaniam for Historic. That concludes the dispatch. The archive and the means to add to it are waiting at historic.com. The Horn has favoured stranger entries than yours.